Beauty is capital, and if you rocking your hair longer has gotten you a promotion or helped you get a job or helped you do the, I don't think any of us are in a position to judge you for doing what you have to do to survive and to thrive within an oppressive world and within oppressive systems. I don't fault anybody for getting their body done, getting work done, getting surgery, because we all have to do, like Cicely Bowen said, we all have to do what we have to do to survive, especially Black women who are trying to navigate oppressive systems. So I don't judge, and I don't think anybody should judge. But hey y'all, it is Janice on the mic in my short hair baddie era. Welcome back to my channel. I am talking about hair today because, as you can see, I chopped all mine off and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about my journey as a 4C hair girly. And I have talked about my hair journey on my channel before. If you look above, you'll see some previous videos that I did. I did a big chop when I first moved to New York. So it's been over a decade. And when I did my first big chop, I kept it for a couple months, but New York is freezing. And it was weird because this was back in the early 2010s. And a lot of men were giving me compliments on my hair and saying that they liked it, but I didn't feel confident with short hair. And it was the same length as it is now, but I'm in such a different phase of my life, and I'm actually really excited to just share my journey as a 4C hair girly. There's been a lot of conversation on the internet lately about Black women's natural hair. You know, Cardi B has a hair care line coming out. Some people are saying she got 4C hair. That lady don't have 4C hair. She might have type 4 hair. Her hair is texturized or textured, but it's not 4C hair. So the whole Cardi Grow Good product conversation has brought up a lot of talk about natural hair. And then there were some TikTok videos that were going viral about how Black women rely too heavily on wigs. I want to talk about 4C hair from my perspective, my journey, and also just provide some additional insights that I think are really important to mention in this conversation and that I haven't been hearing. So I realized that I never really wear my natural hair in its absolutely natural state. I'm going to insert some pictures here, but whenever I wear my natural hair, I have manipulated it, right? I used to do a lot of silk presses. I say a lot, but I did it like 4 or 5 times a year. And when I started, after I had my child, I started wearing my hair, my natural hair out more, because I just was in that phase of my life where I felt like I wanted to wear my natural hair more. And when I started doing that, I started getting really into twist outs. I never just washed my hair and went. And my mom is a licensed cosmetologist, a licensed master cosmetologist. So that's like one level above a licensed cosmetologist. I had some ginger ale and it's making me a little gassy. So excuse me for that. So my mom always does my hair. She colored my hair, and I noticed that when she put blonde in it, it softened the curls a little bit and made my curls a little looser, right? Because as a 4C hair girly, my curls are tightly coiled, but the blonde loosened them a little bit. And then I would do twist outs, and I never really wore my hair in its natural quote unquote state. And I was also one of those women that was obsessed with length. I always did length checks, and I remember one time someone that I know was like, "Oh, I don't think your hair can grow down to your back." I was like, "Bet, say less." And I grew my hair down my back. And I, like so many other women and so many Black women, have been really obsessed with length and have prioritized length over the health and the strength of my hair. And I'm just in a new phase of my life where I had started noticing that the blonde was starting to damage my curls. And then at some point I was like, you know what? I just want to start over. I want to start fresh. I want to wear my natural hair in its natural state. I want to do a wash and go. Even the idea of like laying my edges is something that I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I feel like the protective styles I've been rocking have put pressure on my edges, and my edges have started to thin a little bit. So I am insecure about that. And I actually did a video a couple years ago on whether laying your edges is anti-black. So if you want to watch it, it's linked above. But I just want to wear my hair. So what I did this morning, and I actually think I'm going to be washing my hair a couple times a week, which is a new thing for me. But I am in this new phase of my life where I'm like, I want to embrace the parts, all the parts of me that I was told was ugly. And as a 4C hair girly, I have so many stories of experiencing discrimination because of my hair texture. Let me share 2 of these stories with you. The first I have receipts for. A couple years ago, you know, I love to cook. My partner is West African, and in the country he's from, they eat a lot of jollof rice. And when we got together, I started learning to cook jollof rice because that's not something that I knew how to cook. In my culture, we don't eat that. And somebody that I know sent me, BuzzFeed was doing some kind of jollof rice competition. And so somebody that I'm connected with sent me the jollof rice competition and was like, you should apply to be on. They had some kind of internet series. So because I applied, every like New York City BuzzFeed casting call sends me emails. And so there was a time, maybe this was pre-COVID for sure, but they were having some sort of casting call for hair models. And I was like, oh my God, I could totally be a hair model. Because in my mind, I was like, although I have 4C hair, I have long hair, and you could do a lot of stuff with my hair. And I'm going to find, because I still have the email because I responded to it. And I wrote them a whole dissertation and they never responded back about how it was texturous and anti-black. But they essentially said they didn't want anyone with type 4 hair. And I was like, this is like classic texturism. And that wasn't that long ago. But 2 other incidents that have happened to me as far as texturism is I was going to the same person to get my hair done for over a decade. When I first moved to New York, I met this young girl who was doing hair in a salon, and she started doing my hair, and she'd been doing my hair for 10 years. And then I moved, and then it was too far to commute to her. So I stopped going to her, but she was charging me extra. I think she charged me like $30 extra to detangle my hair. And I get it because I have a lot of hair. I had, past tense, a lot of hair. And as a 4C hair girly, my hair is thick and it takes like an hour and some change to detangle. And I would come into her chair and she would have to wash my hair, or sometimes I would come with it washed and shampooed, but she would have to detangle it. And that took time. And so she started charging me $30 extra. And when I sit back and think about that, and I love this hairstylist, she was amazing. We're still connected on social media, but I loved how she did my hair. She was just she had gifted hands. But part of me is like, was that texturism? Because I don't know who else she was charging, whether she was charging her other client. I have no idea. But it just felt like this wasn't an issue for years. And then all of a sudden, like halfway through, maybe 6 or 7 years into us working together, she said she was going to start charging me extra because it took her a long time. I don't know whether that's a spot-on example, but a more accurate example was when I was in college, everybody was going to the Dominican hair salon. It was like all the rage. And that was, I don't know how long Dominican hair salons have been around, but I went to school in Virginia. We don't have a lot of Dominicans as far as I know in Virginia, but one of my best friends is Puerto Rican. And I feel like I found out about the Dominican hair salon because of her. She has long, beautiful hair. And I went to this salon. So the thing with the Dominican hair salon, if you've never been, is that they used to charge $20 and you get a blowout and they have some kind of like illegal blow dryers where your hair is like so straight. They take the brush and the blow dryer, and the blow dryer gets so hot, and they're able to get your hair super duper straight. So I was like, I want to get this, I was going to say Brazilian. I want to get this, Dominican hair salon experience. And I went there, and I remember they actually charged me either $30 or $40 when they saw my hair. And then it ended up, oh my God, the hair was terrible. I washed it out that same day. It looked terrible. They didn't know how to do 4C hair. And so charging me more because I have kinkier hair when everything is supposed to be $20 to me is texturism. And so I've experienced a lot of texturism throughout my life. Those are just like 2-3 incidents, but it's been a constant. And I think that has contributed to all the trauma I have around my hair and my desire to not wear my hair out. So I do also have to acknowledge that despite my experiences with texturism, I 100% recognize that no matter how much bias and discrimination I experience because of my hair texture, I do have a lot of privileges because I am a lighter skinned Black woman. If I were a darker skinned Black woman, or I was a darker skinned Black woman in a bigger body, the texturism mixed with the colorism, mixed with the fat phobia would be like such a super marginalized cocktail of experiences. And so I do want to also acknowledge that I feel like people will receive me better because I'm a lighter skinned woman with 4C hair. So even when I do a big chop and rock a teeny weeny afro, even with thinning edges or whatever, my experience will be better. And let me not say better, but I will have an easier time. I will be better received. Just like when a white person regurgitates and says the same thing that Black people have been saying for decades. They get cookies, they get claps, they get pats on the back. That's the same way, even in like when you look in a lot of social justice spaces, there are a lot of biracial and light-skinned people that are centered. When I wrote my book, Rise and Resist, I couldn't help but notice how many people who were like these, when we think of Black resistance, I think of people like Angela Davis, I think of Toni Morrison, I think of Audre Lorde, I think of all of these people that were light-skinned. And so I don't want to exclude that from this part of the conversation. And I consume a lot of YouTube videos about hair. YouTube knows me so well, so it feeds me a lot of like 4C. Anytime there's like these texturism hair debates, I'm watching those videos. And I don't hear a lot of the conversation also talk about how, despite the fact that you have 4C hair, your experiences, and you will be received better as a 4C hair girly who is lighter skin. And so I do want to acknowledge that I have a lot of privilege in, how I'm received. I posted about my hair journey as a YouTube reel that I don't know how to link. Can I link a reel? I'll try to link it, but it's on my Instagram as well. And I got so much positive reception. Black women are amazing, but I got so much positive reception from the Black women that I know and that I'm in community with. And I do think it's important for me to acknowledge that people receive me better and will say more positive things because I don't also have to deal with featureism, or I do in some ways, right? Because I have bigger lips and I got made fun of for that. So I do have privileges when it comes to my features and my skin tone. And so the texturism conversation, I think, is important for us to acknowledge, despite the fact that we do experience bias and discrimination because of our hair texture, there is that added layer of privilege that we can have, right? Just like if a white woman had my hair texture, she would experience bias and discrimination for sure, but her experience would be better than mine because she moves through the world as a white woman, right? So I can't say I have the same experience as her completely, but we have similar experiences when it comes to our hair. Also, I got this book, How to Love Your Afro, I believe is what it's called, and I bought it on Audible because I love Audible, and that's how I'm able to finish books. I can't sit down and physically read a book anymore. And I also bought it for my close friend who has alopecia. And so I'm actually really excited to dive into that book because at the point where I am at now, I'm learning to love my hair. I'm learning to love my hair in its natural state. I love my hair in a twist out. I love my hair when it's silk pressed, and I loved it because of the length. How do I love my hair? How do I learn to love my hair at every phase, regardless of the length, regardless of whether my edges are thinning, regardless of all of that? So that's something that I am learning, and no joke, I mean, it's hard, right? I also want to say, I don't fault anybody for doing what they have to do or what they feel they have to do to survive in an oppressive system and in an oppressive world. I read this amazing book called Bad Fat Black Girl. In that book, Cecily Bowen wrote this, right? She says, the bitter truth is that Black women do not have the luxury of resisting the patriarchy by refusing to participate in its beauty mandates. For those of us who are most marginalized, beauty actually becomes a tool that can be used to defend ourselves against racism, sexism, transphobia, classism, etc. So I wrote an article about Serena Williams and how I don't judge her. I'll link it below, but how I don't judge her for using GLP-1s, which is just like the Ozempic type of weight loss aids. I don't fault her for that. A lot of people were like, oh my God, why is she doing that? She's an athlete and this and that. She's navigating she's always been more of a muscular person and had a muscular build. But because she's a darker skinned Black woman, she's always been masculinized. People always talk about how she's this and she's that. And so her doing what she felt she had to do to survive within an oppressive system, I don't judge her for that. I know how hard it is after you have a kid to try to feel like yourself and get back to yourself again. And she had 2 kids and she was struggling to lose weight and struggling to, I think she said she was struggling on the court. And so I don't judge people I don't think it's a productive practice for us to sit here and judge Black women. If Black women want to rock a wig until the dawn of time or the end of time, it is what it is. I think everybody has their own journey, has their own trauma to work through. It is a lot of work. It can require a lot of money. If you're somebody like me, I don't know how long I'm gonna keep my hair like this. I'm gonna try for a couple months, but I like to switch things up. And if I didn't have my mom who can do a million different hairstyles on me, it's pricey, it's expensive. Have you seen these hair prices? And so if you're somebody that likes to switch it up and likes to do different things, you have to make a substantial investment in yourself, in your hair, and the time that it takes. Build your hair up and pour love into your hair. And so that does take time and effort. And I do want to acknowledge that. I don't think it's like a one size fits all. All women should wear their hair in its natural state and that's the end of it. Because the fact of the matter is, depending on what state you live in, you can still get penalized and still get discriminated against and still experience bias because of your hair. Race-based hair discrimination is still a thing, which is why the Crown Act legislation is so important and critical and vital. And so I don't think it's a productive practice to like admonish women who do what they have to do. And for them, that could be wearing wigs, it could be whatever for survival, right? If you're a sex worker and you find that more men approach you if you have a wig versus if you rock your hair like this, for you gotta eat, you gotta make your money. So I don't fault anybody for getting their body done, getting work done, getting surgery, because we all have to do, like Cecily Bowen said, we all have to do what we have to do to survive, especially Black women who are trying to navigate oppressive systems. So I don't judge and I don't think anybody should judge. But for me personally, I am learning I want to learn to love my hair at every iteration and every phase and I realized that I loved my hair, but it was like conditional love. I only loved my hair if it was long, or if it was manipulated, or if it was stretched. I didn't love my hair just waking up and washing it and going. And I want to get to that place where I do. So those are my thoughts. I think the privilege of being able to rock your 4C short, teeny weeny afro natural hair should be brought into the conversation. And I haven't heard that being brought into the conversation. And I also think it's not fair of so many people who don't know what it's like to navigate the world as a Black woman to sit and pass judgment, and even other Black women. I don't think that it's fully fair to pass judgment on other Black women that choose to wear their hair in whatever ways that suit them or that they feel helps them navigate the world, helps them to be treated better. It is what it is. Beauty is capital. And if you rocking your hair longer has gotten you a promotion or helped you get a job or helped you do the, I don't think any of us are in a position to judge you for doing what you have to do to survive and to thrive within an oppressive world and within oppressive systems. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all for taking the time to watch. I hope y'all like my hair. I'm gonna try to find some old videos of mine where I did my first big chop when I first moved to New York. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave off today's video. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.